Okay, students, today we're going to be looking at the coordinate plane, and the coordinate plane is a grid system that consists of a number line that is horizontal. That horizontal number line would be our x-axis, and so our x-axis would be this line here. And then it also consists of a vertical number line, and that vertical number line is our y-axis, and our y-axis would be this line here. And between those two axes, our grid is divided into 4 sections, okay? And the center point is called the origin. So the origin is the center point right in the middle, and that has an ordered pair of 0, 0. So that's where our x value is 0 and our y value is 0. And in the coordinate plane, the x value is always listed first. The y value is always listed second. And we can see that our coordinate plane has been divided into 4 sections. And those 4 sections are called quadrants. So we start numbering them in the upper right-hand corner. So the upper right-hand corner is our first quadrant. Then we would go counterclockwise. To the left would be quadrant 2, down would be quadrant 3, and to the right would be quadrant 4. So we have 4 sections on our coordinate plane. And in these quadrants, we can find a specific location of a point called an ordered pair. And so we're going to be learning how to identify coordinates and how to graph coordinates or ordered pairs. So looking here at our coordinate plane, we can see that we have 3 points that are marked on our coordinate plane, and we're going to list those as an ordered pair. So first we're going to list the x value, then we're going to list the y value. So in order to figure that out, we're going to look at point S here, and we're going to go up to the x-axis. And we can see that point S is at the number 3 on the x-axis. So the ordered pair would be 3 for the x. Then we want to see where it hits the y-axis. So we would go across to the y-axis, and we can see we're at -2. So this ordered pair would be at +3, -2. So we're going to do the same thing for t. So we're going to go to the x-axis first, which is at 3. Then we're going to go to the y-axis, which is at +2. So for point t, we would be at +3, +2. Now w, when we look at the x-axis and we go straight down, we can see it's at 0. And then for the y-axis, we actually don't need to move because it's directly on the y-axis right here at 3. So this would be at the point 0, 3. Okay, we're going to keep going and identify the ordered pairs. So we're going to do the same thing. So for n, we first go to the x-axis, and that would be down here at -3. Then we're going to go to the y-axis, and that would be over here at +3. So our ordered pair would be -3, +3. Now it wants us to identify what quadrant that is. So when we're thinking of our quadrants, remember we have the first quadrant, the second quadrant, the third quadrant, and the fourth quadrant. So point N, we can see, falls in the second quadrant, or quadrant 2. Okay, for X is over here. So if we're identifying the quadrant, X is in quadrant 3. And if we're looking for the ordered pair, we first go up to the x value, and that's right here at -4. Then we go to the y value, and that's over here at -3. So -4, -3 would be our ordered pair. Okay, and then finally we're looking at point y. So I erased some of that extra stuff on there. Now point y is really unique because it is not in any of the quadrants. In fact, it is exactly in the middle of all of them. And we would say that point y is at the origin. Now, we talked about identifying these ordered pairs by their location. And so again, we want to make sure that we're always looking at the x value first, and that would be the value on the x-axis, followed by the y value second. So an ordered pair is identified by first its x value. Remember, the x value is where it relates to the x-axis. And then it's identified by its y value, so where it relates to the y-axis. So the point 3, 2, we would go from the origin over 3 spaces, up 2 spaces, and that's where we would make our dot. So we would go 3 spaces to the right, 2 spaces up, and that would be our point. Okay, so we're going to graph some ordered pairs. So this one, we're always starting at the origin. And so from the origin, we're going over 3, then we're going up 3 because both numbers are positive. And we would just have the point where that dot is. That would be point D. For point E, again, we always start at the origin. This time we have a -2. So that means we're going to the left 2, and then we have a -3, so we're going down 3. So we would make a point right here, and that would be location for E. And then finally F, we can see F is at a +3, so we would go to the right 3, and then a -5, we would go down 5 and make our point. And this would be point F. So we wouldn't want to leave the lines, we just want to leave the dot, the coordinate for where they're located.